So this is going to be the first episode of my Players to Watch series for the upcoming season, where essentially I just compile a list of under the radar players who I think have elite level potential and I will be keeping an eye on for the upcoming season. But in this particular video, I'm going to be telling you about 3 of my favourite young players who I think all have elite level potential and by 2026 or 2027 would be part of my dream Manchester United squad, with all 3 likely available this summer for a combined £60 million. So the first player is Franjo Ivanovic, who I have made a full individual analysis video about, which I will leave linked in the eye above, and so I won't go into him in too much detail, but I will analyse the role he'll play in a narrow front 3 with the other 2 later on in the video. And so the second player who's going on the watch list is Inter Milan's 19-year-old Italian striker Francisco Pio Esposito, who is 20 in June and spent last season on loan at Spezia in Serie B, where he scored 19 goals in 40 games. Inter have reportedly set a 25 to 30 million euro asking price, with Napoli amongst the clubs interested, and despite a fairly sizable fee for a 19-year-old who has only played in Serie B, there are a few reasons as to why I think Esposito could be worth that sort of investment, with his skill set but also his non-penalty XG being 2 aspects of his game that caught my eye. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by this, why I rate Esposito, Ivanovic and the third player I'm going to mention so highly, before showing you how they would work together as a front 3 in Ruben Amorim's system. But before I go any further, if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to okjersey.com. They've got the new Manchester United releases for the upcoming season, as well as retro jerseys as well from just £15, providing excellent value for money. They sent me over these new release alternative Manchester United jerseys from this season, as well as a long-sleeved retro home shirt from the 92-93 season with Cantona 7 on the back, alongside this Nuno Gomez Benfica shirt from the 97-98 season as well. If you use code ALANTIS at checkout, you'll get a discount, so I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below. So Francisco Esposito stylistically is a throwback traditional striker, quick, physical and clinical in front of goal from a variety of different situations. Whether this is through his poacher-like movements and instincts inside of the box, movement in behind a high back line, or a header after winning a physical and aerial duel inside of the box from a crossing situation, or even from long range in open play or from a free kick, Esposito is reminiscent of strikers like Batistuta, Vieri and Fernando Torres in terms of how physically robust but also quick he is when he's receiving the ball, and uses physicality and pace in a way that many young strikers aren't able to do to his level at that age. Now, some people may make comparisons to Rasmus Højlund due to Esposito's willingness to engage in the physical battle with the defenders behind him. However, the major difference between the two is that Esposito doesn't get overly consumed by the physical duel, and instead he's able to use his body weight and balance far more efficiently than Højlund is able to, which means that when he receives the ball in congested, pressurised areas inside of the box, unlike Højlund, he isn't flustered and rushed into a quick decision. Instead, he has a confidence in his ability both technically and physically, and so is far more composed in these types of situations, making him significantly better at getting shots away early, due to his superior balance and body positioning, which alongside his ball control and quick footwork, enables him to manipulate the ball in order to work shooting angles for himself. See, he's not just a player who has a physicality, but already at the age of 19, he's able to use that physicality to his advantage, which is usually a skill that physical centre forwards develop later on in their careers, something that is particularly impressive about Esposito's skill set. Alongside this, he's also a significant aerial threat inside of the box from crossing situations, which is something that I've highlighted as one of the most underrated attributes a striker can have in the modern game, as he's able to not only deal with close contact defending, but actually bully defenders to get on the end of a cross. Wherefrom, even under significant pressure, he's able to use his heading ability to direct the ball into the back of the net. And you can see how good he is in the air by the fact that he ranked in the 91st percentile for both the volume and the percentage of aerial duels he's won in Serie B this season. And it's this aerial ability alongside his ball control, offensive instincts and movement inside of the box that contributes to his ability to generate high value chances frequently. And we can see this clearly by looking at his total non-penalty XG from this season in Serie B, where despite only being 19, he didn't just record the highest non-penalty XG, but did so by a significant amount as well, a total of 15.2. which was 5.8 higher than second place, which alongside his non-penalty XG per shot also being fairly high at 0.14, and Esposito overperforming his non-penalty XG by a very sustainable 0.8 are all huge green flags that you do want to see in young centre forwards. Now yes, it is Serie B, but last season Esposito was clearly already the best striker in the league at 19, which is certainly nothing to be dismissed. Now Højlund also did look very impressive, recording a high non-penalty goals and non-penalty XG rate during his only season in Serie A. But that doesn't mean that Højlund didn't have the potential at the time, or even doesn't now. And so that is why, even though using stats like non-penalty XG and non-penalty XG per shot can indicate a player with high goal scoring potential, you have to look at specific parts of their game in order to get a clearer picture of how good they are currently and how high their potential is for the future. And the big distinguishing factor between Esposito and Højlund, goal scoring wise in my opinion, is Esposito's better balance, use of his physicality, aerial ability and ball manipulation inside of the box. However, outside of the box, Esposito is arguably just as good, as like when he's inside of the box he knows how to use his physicality, which enables him to drop off from the forward line, and similar to how we see Mateta do, is able to receive the ball to feet, get the ball under control swiftly, while simultaneously using his body to hold off the defender on his back, before either linking play with a neat layoff at the right time, or using his body weight to turn the defender and then drive forward. Which makes him exactly the sort of centre forward who would excel at linking play with direct vertical passes into his chest, feet or head. And so whilst in the box he's very much a poacher, outside of the box he could be considered a target man. And Esposito's ability to aid his team in progressing the ball up the pitch can be seen clearly by the fact that in Serie B this season he ranked in the 92nd percentile for his passes into the penalty area, as well as around the 75th to 85th percentile range for his XG assisted, expected assists, progressive passes into the final third and switches of play, which shows that Esposito isn't just a goal scorer, but also someone who can contribute to working the ball into the final third. And so overall I rate Esposito incredibly highly, and I would actually say that his potential is elite, not solely due to his goal scoring and ability to get into and create high value goal scoring opportunities, but also because of his more unique attributes, such as his aerial offensive threat, his intelligent use of his physicality, his shooting ability from inside but also outside of the box as well, which is very Batistuta-like, but also his ability to hold up and link play, just as we see from more experienced strikers like Mateta. Now Esposito likely wouldn't be ready for the Premier League next season, and so that probably rules out United making a move for him this summer, having already spent £130 million on Mbeumo and Cunha and still needing to sign a starting centre forward. And so whilst Ivanovic could be a deal that United do this summer, any move for Esposito would likely have to wait until 2026, where his price may increase significantly if he goes on loan and has a good season. But even the season after in 26-27, depending on United's centre forward options, as well as his development this season, it may be better for his long-term development if he was to go on loan to a lower table Premier League club, just as we saw with the likes of Lukaku and Daniel Sturridge, or even somewhere like Ligue 1, if he wouldn't get consistent minutes in the United first team. Whilst his raw attributes, specifically his physicality, box finishing and offensive instincts, signal to me that he does have elite level potential as an advanced target man type of striker, he does need to refine his quick footwork inside of the box in order to allow him to manipulate shooting angles more efficiently, as it will be a lot harder in the top 5 leagues to work space for shots inside of the box than it is at the current level he was playing at last season. Also, whilst he does use his physicality with much greater efficiency for his age than Højlund, he does still need to learn when to engage and when to drop off from a physical battle with a defender on his back, though I do think this will come naturally if given game time in a good quality league. And so overall, when comparing Esposito to other strikers his age, I think that he has all the attributes to be a 15 to 20 Premier League goal a season striker when he hits his mid-20s, around 2028-2030, which is why he's one of the players going on my watch list alongside Franjo Ivanovic. So let me know what you think of Esposito in the comment section below, and if you want to check out any cheap, good quality football jerseys, go over to okjersey.com. You can use code Atlantis at checkout for a discount. I'll leave it linked in the description and in the comment section below, and if you want to check out any of the plot graphs or articles on my Patreon, you can get a 7-day free trial, so I'll leave it linked on the end screen now as well.